Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillahi amma ba'. Today is the day of Arafat, beginning after Salat al-Maghrib. So this day is the day of Al-Arafat. And as we mentioned in the previous week, these days are the best days in Al-Islam, and the day of Arafat in particular is from the best of the 10. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the day of Arafat was a day of Al-Eid, and the day of Al-Nahr, the day when the people slaughter at Hajj, is also a day of Al-Eid. So he called Arafat a day of Al-Eid, but it doesn't have all of the rules and regulations of the normal Eid al-Fitr and the Eid al-Adha. Similar to Jummah is a day of Eid, but it doesn't have those ahkam. Concerning the day of Arafat, there are a number of issues. Actually, we want to draw your attention to those people who made Hajj today. They were at Mina today. And right now at Maghrib time over there is Arafat. So tomorrow, it's going to be the biggest day for them in terms of the main aspect of Al-Hajj. Those people who didn't make Al-Hajj, Arafat still has a lot of meaning. And you have to take advantage of it. It's a golden opportunity. As we mentioned last week, and as you've heard, these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the best days in the dunya. And tomorrow, the day of Arafah, is even more auspicious and more important. From the virtues of Arafat is the fact that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the people who are making Hajj, that Allah is going to brag. He's going to brag in a way that befits His Majesty to the Malaika of the people who came there in the state in which they went, in the Ihram. Also for the people who are making Al-Hajj, from the virtues of the Arafat for them is that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed the people that Hajj is Arafat. So if a person missed any and everything about Hajj, but he was there on the day of Arafat, he made Hajj. That's an issue of fiqh. We don't want to get into it, but it shows the virtues of the day. That if a person went to Mecca today and he was at Arafat, he missed all of the days before Arafat and all of the days after Arafat, he still made Hajj. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Hajj Arafat. The one who makes that day, he made the Hajj. As for the people who are at Hajj and the people who are not at Hajj, from the best dua that we should know about, actually, I don't want to just say it. I want to ask, does anyone know the best dua to be made on the day of Arafat? Does anyone know that dua? Because it's a reoccurring issue every year in and year out. The same dua is the best dua. Does anyone know that dua? No, that's a good dua, no doubt. But the dua, the Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best dua is the dua of Arafat. And the best dua that I said and all of the prophets before me was, what was it, Akhi Zahid? The dua is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Now I think I can continue to give this talk. I can give the talk. But I just want to try to memorize this dua collectively very quickly, and it's not difficult. And if you put your mind to it, I believe you can do it. All you have to do is put your mind to it. The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the best dua, full stop, point blank, the best dua is the dua that you make on the day of Arafah. And the best dua that I said and the prophets who were before me is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. That's a simple dua because all of those words, everybody here heard them before. There's nobody here who never heard those words. Now I think the only issue that remains is trying to make an effort to memorize it. It's easy. All of those words, there's no word that came in that dua that you don't know. Again, he said that the best dua, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. That's it. Okay, Ikhwani, we're going to try to do this together, inshallah. And the sisters can also try to participate. All right? Anybody want to try by themselves? Anybody want to try by themselves? £50 reward for the one who can do it. All right, we're going to do it together, Ikhwan. We're going to do it together. Okay, listen. We're going to do it together. Listen. La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika la, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So we're going to do it. I'm going to say it, and then you're going to say it. La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Come on, Ikhwan, you guys got to be together, inshallah. If you get it together, it's going to get in your DNA. If everybody's on his own page, when it comes your turn, you're going to be panicking under the pressure. You have to get it together. La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Samir, تفضل. Relax. Relax. Hold on, Ikhwani. Everybody relax. It's okay. I'm not laughing at you, man. It was just funny. Hold on. Because when it's your turn, you have to get it right. Fauzan, before I forget, I wanted to mention to you, brothers and sisters, this was my first time coming before things were set up. And when I came today, I saw how they set this room up. I always thought the room was already like this, chairs, partition on both sides, but it's not the case. I thought all they did was bring the microphone and that was it, put this up there. But in fact, two of those younger brothers are the ones who come here early and they set all of these chairs up. So that's from the best deeds in the month of Dhul Hijjah in these 10 days. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to put that in the mizan of the hasanat of those brothers. Keep up the good work, because at any time they can say, I'm not going, let Zahid take care of it, or so, and it may not happen. So you guys keep up the good work. Okay, Ikhwani. The best dua is the dua of Arafah. And the best dua that I said and the Prophet said before me, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Akhi, that's Muhammad Samir, the brother behind him, the one behind him. Yes. Okay, then let's try again then. You have to stay with me. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Who wants to try now? Akhi, Abu Suhaib, tfaddal. Say it one more time, Akhi. Slow down. La ilaha illallah. Good, Akhi. Anybody else want to try? Sheikh, I know you must know, yes. La ilaha illallah. Lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu. Good job, Sheikh. Good job. And then next to him is the Sheikh to his right, and then behind him, the brother with the black hat. La ilaha illallah. Tfaddal. No, the brother behind the Sheikh right there. Yeah. Akhi, Imam al-Bukhari. That's good, Akhi, mashallah. Uzbekistan. Say it one more time. Good, excellent. Zahid. له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. Ikhwani, before we move on, can you guys just help me to translate that? La ilaha illallah. What does it mean? There's no God, nothing worthy of worship except Allah. La ilaha illallah. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. Good. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. He's by himself and having the right to be worshipped and obeyed and looked at as an ilah. Lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu. Lahul mulk wa lahul hamd. All of the mulk, all of the dominion is for Allah. Wa lahul hamdu. And all of the hamd. He has the right. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Allah is capable and able of doing all things. This kalima, ikhwani, is easy for us to memorize it and just to move on. And that's it. We just parried it off on the day of Arafah. But if it is the best dua that the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the best dua that all of the other prophets said, then it shows you the weight of and the importance of a tawheed. Many people don't know the dua at all. And if a person memorized it, he may not understand what is the meaning and the implication. Why is that the most important dua that Bani Adam knows? La ilaha illallah. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. Lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shayin qadir. It doesn't mean like someone mentioned, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan. And someone mentioned ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. It doesn't mean that that's bad. It means that this particular dua on this day is the most important day, which goes to show the importance of a tawheed. And it's something, as I mentioned, it should be embedded in our psyche and our DNA. On the day of Arafah, not only should it be mentioned, but it's something we should also understand. It's about the tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. But to go forward, inshallah ta'ala, the companion of the Nabi, Ubadah radiallahu anhu, he said that someone came and asked the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam about fasting on the day of Arafat. He said, fasting on this day, it removes and expiates, it cleans up the sins that you do for last year and the sins that you're going to do for the upcoming year, inshallah, if you have some sins. And those sins that are taken care of are the small sins. As for the major sins, like ghiba, like missing salah, like saying things that you're going to be responsible for, those major sins have to have tawbah for them. The Nabi, he told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the 5 prayers and the Jummah to the next Jummah, the Ramadan to the next Ramadan, they are expiations for your sins if you stay away from the major sins. So those wajibat, Jummah, the 5 prayers, Ramadan are wajib. If you stay away from the major sins, they wipe your minor sins away. So with fasting on Arafah is not wajib like those are wajibat. Those don't have the ability to take away your major sins. So Arafat doesn't have the ability to take away from your major sins. In addition to that, Khwani, what we wanted to mention was the issue of the slaughter. We wanted to encourage all of you brothers to do your slaughtering. Some of the scholars said that slaughtering is wajib. Others said it's not wajib. And it's a big ikhtilaf, and I'm not going to try to come here and put pressure on anyone concerning the 2 opinions. But obviously, slaughtering is from the best deeds, as we mentioned before, and you should try to slaughter to the best of your ability. 1 slaughter from each household is what should be done. The more the merrier, the more the better. More than 7 people can't come in on 1 animal, and the animal has to be a camel, which is the best thing to slaughter, or a cow. As for the sheep, 1 sheep per household. Even if you're living with your parents, 1 sheep per household. And if you were to slaughter, that slaughter has to be done, again, as we mentioned before, it has to be done. And once it's done, you can groom yourself. For those of you who are slaughtering from overseas, the origin of slaughtering is that it should be taking place here in your locality. That's the sunnah of the Nabi with zakat. The sunnah of the Nabi was zakat al-fitr, and the zakat of your money, the pillar of Islam, to take the zakat of the people and to give it to the poor from amongst them. But obviously, if a person is giving money or the animal, the slaughter, sacrifice for his relatives, they deserve it more than the people in his own locale. If you do slaughter, you have to find out what's going on. Common question that's been posed on the day of the Eid for us, the day of the Eid from them is at a different time in Pakistan, for an example. So what do? Do I groom myself after I know that the slaughter took place and they pray before us? Clearly the issue is you can't slaughter before the time of the salah. But if they have to slaughter at that time, you're not responsible. Groom yourself after the salah. Groom yourself after the salah. Lastly, for the Eid tomorrow or Friday, inshallah, for Green Lane, the Eid is going to be inside of the masjid, and the first salat is at 8:30. If you attend the Eid, you don't have to attend the actual salat of al-Jum'ah. Another issue that came before the class, a brother said, what about the distribution of the slaughter? The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam never said that you have to distribute the meat into thirds. A third for you, a third for your family and friends, and a third for the fuqara, the masakin. There's no hadith that says that, but there is an ayat of the Quran in Surah Al-Hajj that some of the ulama understood that from that ayat that Allah Ta'ala commanded that you should eat from what you slaughter and you should feed from what you slaughter. So our mother Aisha radiallahu anha encouraged the people, keep some, eat some, and give some for sadaqah. But if a person slaughtered and kept everything, he's not blameworthy. He's not blameworthy at all. So if you brothers and sisters have any questions concerning the slaughtering or concerning the ahkam of the Eid, what's going to happen, you can put your questions forward right now. But before that, let's just do this dua one more time, because that's practically the best thing that we could do today. Akhi, Muhammad Samir, you want to try one more time? له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. My man right here. This is Muhammad Samir, this brother, and then the one right behind him. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La wahdahu la sharika lahu. Lahu mulku wa lahu alhamdu. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Akhi Abu Suhaib. Abu Suhaib, you just had Suhaib. Yeah, I thought you were actually putting your hand up. Okay, my man back there, my man. Yeah. Yeah. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. Sheikh, next to the Sheikh right there. Yeah. Good, good. Okay, next to Abu Suhaib, the next brother right there. Yeah. Good, excellent, mashallah. You were the best one. You and Uzbekistan. And Imam al-Bukhari, mashallah, you too. One more time. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. One more time. Good, good job, good job. Okay, Khwani, you can put your questions forward if you have a question. Naam, Akhi. It's a good question, Akhi. That's a good question. The fact that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam called it a dua, he said that the best dua is the dua of Arafat. And the best dua that I made and the prophets made before me is the dua La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Since the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam called it dua, we accept that as dua. Now the issue is, but it doesn't sound like we're asking for anything. And I'm not going to try to explain that from my mind like that. I'll go back and I'll find out why was it called a dua. Good question, Akhi. Good observation. What's your name? Walid. MashaAllah. Did you memorize the dua, Walid? Come on, give it to us. MashaAllah. You're reading it? Okay. Good job, Akhi Walid. You. Yeah, there's a dua for the marketplace as well. It's a long dua. There's a lot of contention. Is it authentic or not authentic? Because whoever says the dua will get 100,000 rewards. So some of the scholars said it's not authentic. Some of them said it is authentic. And in that dua is no asking of anything. It's the ta'zeem and the takbir of Allah like this one is. So we'll remember that. Hey, Harun, can you remember to write that email to me? How is the dua that we mentioned today, the dua of Arafah, how is it a dua? Just write that, okay? Even in the text message. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Good question, Akhi Walid, mashallah. I don't know, Sheikh. I don't know. I would think that there's something else connected to it, but I don't know. That's why I'm going to go back and I'm going to check it out. I don't know. What you're saying doesn't seem to be connected. Allahu Alam. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Allahu Alam, ya akhi. Allahu Alam. But please remind me of that, okay? Any more questions, Ikhwani?
Some people they send money abroad for the money and they don't do it in this country. Is that allowed?
Yeah, as we mentioned, Akhi, if you can do it in the country and you can do it yourself, then inshallah that's better, as long as it's easy for you. If it's difficult for you, or if it's impossible for you, then Allah doesn't burden the soul beyond its scope and its ability. If you're left with no other alternative except to send it overseas, then you do that. If you have relatives who are overseas, then they deserve it more than the people who deserve it here, especially for you, because you get the double reward of the issue. You get the double reward. The reward of the biha and the reward of connecting your ties of relationship. And Allah knows best. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Allah knows best, but no doubt if the child does any deed, then automatically the parents are going to get the reward of the deed of the child. And if the child makes the niyat to make that deed connected to the mother or the father, it becomes even more crystal clear that the parents get those deeds. And that's because of the ayat in the Quran. Allah Ta'ala, He said, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. The human being will get that which he strove for. And the Prophet said about that idea, the ayat, your children are from your efforts, from what you strive for. And the understanding of that is the parents get whatever reward that the children are doing. So it would seem that if a person is slaughtering, his parents are going to get it anyway. And if he makes that niyat, then the parent obviously gets the lion's share of the reward, but clearly he's going to get part of the reward because he facilitated it. He did birrul walidain and so forth and so on. As for the wife and the husband doing one sheep and trying to get the reward to the mother and the father, the wife's father and the husband's parents, the wife's parents, the husband's parents, if they both, depends on their amount of sacrifice that they both made. They went in on the issue half, then they both get the reward of it. If one of them put the money in and the other one encouraged, then they both get the reward comparable to what and the amount of effort that they had in the issue. And Allah knows best. Naam, Zahid.
Can you just remind, clarify regarding the after the Salah after Arafah?
It's a good question, Akhi Zahid. May Allah put it in your mizan of hasanat. The day of Arafah is tomorrow, inshallah. This is Arafat Maghrib, Isha al-Fajr. From the ahkam of al-Arafah is after Salatul al-Fajr, we start to make the takbir until the last day of a tashriq, which is the 3 days after Jummah, after the Eid. Friday is the Eid, that's the Yom al-Nahr, the day of slaughtering. And the Prophet called it al-Hajj al-Akbar, the major day of al-Hajj, because they do so many things on that day. After that day, first day of Eid, comes the days of a tashriq, cutting out the meat and letting the meat hang in strips so that it can dry out. 3 days. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of Arafah after Fajr started to say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahil hamd. He used to say that and other du'as similar to it after Salat Fajr and Arafat until the 3rd day of the Eid after Asr time. So after each and every Salat, it's from the Sunnah for men and women to say that du'a. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la lahu mulk lahul hamd. La ilaha Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Yeah, that dua, that over and over, that dhikr over and over again. And then on the third day of the Eid, after Salatul Asr, you should stop it. If you're in the masjid, people may not be doing it, so you start it off to bring life to that particular sunnah. If you're at home and you make the salat, then it's something you should do with your children, instilling in them this particular sunnah. Good point, Akhi Zahid. Any more questions, Ikhwani? Tomorrow after Fajr, inshallah. Tomorrow after Fajr and every subsequent salah.
Should we be reading this, saying this dua again and again here or not?
You can say it as much as you want due to the ayat of the Quran, وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمُ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. Let them remember the name of Allah in the well-known days. The Prophet ﷺ informed us that these are the well-known days. So the ayat is general. So you say La ilaha illallah or whatever you want to say as much as you possibly can. Abu Huraira, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri used to go to the marketplace and they would just say this and the people would say it after them, after being inspired and reminded by them. So it's not only for the salah. Good question, Akhi. Sheikh.
What advice do you give somebody who isn't established in their salah but they still want to fast tomorrow?
No doubt the salah is more important than the fasting, but if you were alive, you have to take advantage of this opportunity to make tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's the best day. It's from the best days of these 10 days, and perhaps it'll be a springboard for the person to start praying. As for the person who is not going to pray, he is or she is consistent and intent on being lax in the salah, then fasting Arafah and making this dhikr is secondary. Salat is more important than all of that. And if the person is not praying and they intend not to pray, then those du'as and those other ibadat that come after it will be null and void. As the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who abandons the salat is disbelieved, and that disbelief destroys your salat. Whoever abandons salat al-asr, his deeds will be destroyed, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we're not going to tell a person, don't fast tomorrow. We're going to say, fast tomorrow and feel Allah Azza wa Jal and make tawbah and do the best that you can, inshallah. Okay, Ikhwani, we're going to bring it to an end, inshallah. We see you, brothers and sisters, after the Eid. We have some things back there for the... we have some ongoing expenses here for the program, and we have to continue to come up with ways to try to make money. So we have for sale some juices and waters and things like that, and we have the donation bucket as well. So we want you, brothers and sisters, not to forget to donate generously to the ongoing program. Just as those young brothers came in early and they're doing their part, if you can help financially, whether you give the money and take some of the things, alhamdulillah, or just give some money. So we're asking you to try to help, inshallah. Faddal. Yeah, no doubt. Brother Zahid mentioned that earlier, the importance of the kinship and the day of the Eid. Making the dhikr of Allah is good, no doubt about that. But tying the ties of relationship is just important, if not more important. It's just as important, if not more important. And also waiting until the day of Ramadan, the day of Eid, is kind of weird, but it's the best day to do it. Every Monday and every Thursdays, the deeds go up to Allah Azza wa Jal. If there are problems existing between people, Allah doesn't accept the person's deeds throughout the year, throughout the month. But the month of Ramadan is the one day, because it's from the best deeds, the day of the Eid. It's the day to obviously, clearly make peace and to come together with the relatives. No doubt about that. Inshallah. You can say it loud, you can say it within yourself, audible, as you like. Yeah, you say it loud enough for you to hear it, no problem. You say it so people can hear it, no problem. No problem.
Talking about the takbirat in the Eid prayer or after the Eid prayer, people say together. Is it supposed to be said together or is it supposed to be said individually?
The origin of dua is that it should be said individually. If people need to say it together for learning purposes, like what we did here today, inshallah, no problem. But when it comes to making the dhikr, people should just say it by themselves. You should just say it by yourselves. No problem. Now, okay, Khwani, we'll bring this to a close. Barakallahu fikum wa ahsanul ilayk. We'll see you guys after the Eid, inshallah.